The only difference is your bank account is bigger than mine, but that still don't make you smarter. It doesn't make you bigger. It doesn't make you better than me. You understand what I'm saying? It was never in my favor. I mean, that was an international superstar coming after a blogger with 200,000 followers. Okay? She had millions flagging videos, taking down Instagrams. You know, this is my 4th Instagram right now. But for me, I was like, it could be billions of people. What I feel is what I feel. I've always been that way. And my mom, she tried to shake that shit out of me like, why you so steadfast in your, I'm like, I get it from you. What the hell? You know? And so, but I didn't do anything, in my opinion, I didn't do anything wrong. I interviewed somebody that she had dealings with. That girl said a lot of shit, you know? And to me, it was right up my alley on my channel. Now, publications, yes, we air stuff, and some of that can backfire. And that's what happened. And she had the money to make it backfire. I did not at all. 200,000 followers, you know? Still ain't got that kind of money. You know, you're an international superstar. And they gave you what they felt that you deserve. Even though you came in with $5,000 worth of medical bills, you know? So $4 million, $5,000, hey, be as it may. But it was always an attempt to get me to humble myself, or, you know, pick and choose your battles, or, you know, you should be afraid of my bank account or my lawyers and things like that. And I'm like, listen, y'all can lock me up, throw away the motherfucking key. I'm still gonna be talking shit at the end of the day. You pissing shit just like me. The only difference is your bank account is bigger than mine, but that still don't make you smarter. It doesn't make you bigger. It doesn't make you better than me. That I've never had to take off my clothes. I've never had to, you know, drug and rob men to, you know, to pay for studio time or present myself in a sexually provocative way. I've always used my voice. I've always used my brain to do things. No, absolutely not. There's nothing you're going to try to tell me to change me, and I don't give a shit how many cracker lawyers you hire to try to get me to shut the up, okay? You gotta earn my respect. And she was very disrespectful. And as the public sees, she is very, very disrespectful. But the difference is, it's light-skinned privilege versus a dark-skinned, aggressive, loud-ass woman. She just met her energy. And my energy was just a little bit broker than hers. And that's just ultimately what it boils down to. But as far as the way I disseminate news, I don't have time to go back to school or things like that to learn defamation law and stuff, because it wasn't intentional for me to be sitting. I mean, it was intentional after a while, but when I first started this, no, it was fine. It's still fine. But now I have First Amendment right lawyers. That's all they do. They don't do any other type of law. You know, they do First Amendment right, you know, your freedom of speech. And they educate me. Do you know what this is? Do you know how to disseminate this? I can talk about anything, but it's just the way I disseminate that information. And because I like to find the entertainment aspect of it, that's where the comedy comes in at. And I'm able to make it fun and make light of it. And that's just what it's going to be. And I don't give a public figure or not. You know, listen, you're going to catch this energy the same way every other person in the limelight catches this energy. So you're not singled out. It's not like she's singled out. Everybody gets smoke on my channel. And most of the celebrities love it. They really love it. Because, you know, publicity ain't cheap. But on my channel, I give it for free. So, and now your name is not in the title no more. You're having to go pay people to put your name in the title when money ain't rolling in like it used to, because you spent 6 years fighting a broke blogger. It can backfire. So I'm seeing how, you know, the tables have turned. I'm like, it didn't even have to come to this. All you had to do was be nice, tell me what it was that you didn't like about it, and we could have been done. But she's a bully, and I'm a bully, and that's just what it is. I think it was one day. It was like the night before I turned 40 years old. Because I'm 41 now, I just turned 41, yeah. So it was like the night before I turned, you know, and you try to look at it and access your goals, and, you know, I'm thinking like, damn, you know, did I make it this far to come to this? Like, is this it for me, you know? And then I was looking around at my circle and, you know, how they was like, you know, using me and, you know, it was a lot of reflecting, you know, as far as like, you know, what's next, you know, because 40 is a milestone. You know, and I'm like, but then I had to look at all the positive things that I've done and all the accomplishments, and does it outweigh this one thing? And then I had to look at the media business as a whole. Media companies get sued all the time. McDonald's gets sued all the time. You can get in your car and get sued. It's the nature of the business. Like, and am I going to let one lawsuit put me out of business, or am I going to use this and learn from it and apply the lessons to my business and go and, you know, do things better? And that's exactly what I did. And so, yeah, it was a moment. It was kind of like, damn, I'm turning 40 and I got this bill and I just got my American Express card back after, you know, bankruptcy and shit. My credit score at 800. Now this bitch gonna go back down, but it's at a 689 right now in my bankruptcy, so it ain't too bad. You know, I can get a couple trade lines and get it back up. But, you know, yes, I reflected everything, and everyone that was in my circle that was supposed to be in my circle said, Tasha, you built this, you got it out the mud, you didn't have to rob, drug, steal, you know, just, I didn't have to do anything to degrade myself or anybody to get where I'm sitting today. And people love it. They love it. And that's why we have such a massive following. I always say this, never chase a lie. And in my situation, what got me caught up was I cussed her out real bad. Real bad. It had nothing to do with defamation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was on the interview that I interviewed concerning a stripper that she had stripped with at a strip club. And they had a back and forth. You know, they had a fight. So she's telling her side. Of course, Cardi got her side. But as far as what got me caught up in it was, you know, me cussing her out. You know, when they opened up, you know, during opening arguments, it was like, bitch, you fake titty, fake body, dirty rat. I went in, I was like, that's why Offset don't want your mother ass. And all them crackers sitting there watching that shit. Said, ooh, we're done here. We're done. That I will never do again. That was probably the only video that I've done like that to that extent, because I was just angry, you know, at everything. I mean, we was like, 3 years into the lawsuit by then. People didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, and, you know, threats and shit that I was getting, and, you know, stuff like that, and her sending people to my door and getting her gang member friends on me and stuff. Like, it was just a lot of shit. And I'm from the country, and then I'm a hood bitch at the same time. So, you know, all of that came out in that video, and even my husband, he didn't even know I made that video. He's like, what the hell? I was just like, so now when I get hit with lawsuits, because I still get hit with lawsuits, I still get hit with cease and desist, I just shut the fuck up now. I just, you know, let's keep it at what you're suing about, and I got other things, and I'm at the point now where I can give people clout, and I don't want to do that. And the lawyers, the first thing, you know, a lawyer should tell you, which my lawyers didn't, is, you know, just shut up. I didn't. My lawyers was telling me to go to in. You know, and that's a bad lawyer. You don't have to hire a lawyer like that's a bad lawyer. But they was young and high-headed too, you know, and you get what you pay for. You know, $5,000 retainer versus $100,000 retainer for her. You know, you get what you pay for. And so that's ultimately like the lesson learned is just when you get served, just shut up and just let the lawyers do what they do. And hiring in this business, First Amendment right lawyers, and that's all they do. First of all, you know, free speech is never free. You know, so it's like, it can be free, but you know, there's always a cost behind it. But absolutely, it was violated, and I think the perception of me, you know, took over, and they weren't able to see, okay, is this really defamation? Like, did this really cause her damage? And I see, you know, as a juror, you know, because I've been summoned to be a juror before, still even after the court case. But like, you got to think about it. These are regular, everyday people, and they're seeing me for the first time, and they're like, "This is how you act." It would hurt me if someone talked about my husband like that, or talked about me, and this has got to cause her pain. But they didn't realize, like, this is an international superstar. This chick ain't losing no damn money. You know, they're looking at it from their perspective, and so, you know, perception is everything. So yeah, that's all I got to say on that, you know.